Hi, my name is Trish Ferguson and I'm an Associate Professor in English Literature at Liverpool Hope University. My research is primarily focused on literature of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. I often work on quite well-known authors like Thomas Hardy and Arthur Conan Doyle. My first book was a study of Thomas Hardy's interest in the law, which reflects quite a long-standing interest in crime fiction, and one of my most recent publications was a new edition of His Last Bow, which is a volume of Sherlock Holmes stories that were published in the run-up to the First World War. And that was published with Oxford University Press this year. But I also have an interest in thinking about time in the 19th century and how that changes with the birth of the railway and the factory system. And I'm interested in literature that registers new ideas about time in different ways. So new industrial time consciousness, for example, but also thinking about literary texts changing in terms of form and even new genres emerging like speculative fiction and detective fiction because of these new ways of thinking about time. And I love talking about these ideas with students, but I also love talking about other kinds of literature like Gothic literature, looking at texts like Frankenstein and Dracula and thinking about how those texts can be seen in relation to contemporary social and political concerns. In terms of teaching, I often teach in my research area, but I often teach well beyond it. And I love teaching any kind of literature because I really enjoy hearing students' perspectives on it. Often students will be making connections between literary texts and current social concerns and offering very fresh new perspectives. Often we go beyond the literary text to think about adaptations and the impact and legacy of a particular piece of writing. So I've enjoyed in recent weeks thinking about the Sherlock Holmes stories and adaptations in terms of film and television, but also even in terms of gaming, and students are thinking about kind of the enduring popularity of texts in quite new ways. So those texts feel very refreshed by those new perspectives. And the best thing about teaching English literature at Hope is how much we encourage that two-way process. So it's not just us conveying what we think about literary texts, but it's much more so that we're interested in hearing what students say and helping them to develop those ideas. And when we get feedback through surveys or NSS results, that often reflects the fact that students feel that their perspectives are really valued, and that's something that we really have at the heart of our teaching, that value attached to students' perspectives. And we love celebrating with our students as well. We get to know them very well, we love seeing them graduate, but we also love the journey to get there as well.